Hello, how's it going, people? Welcome to the stream, welcome to Tuesday stream, Tuesday 29th of the October. Tomorrow, Arsenal play in Carabao Cup against Preston North End, so obviously today we are having the match preview. We're gonna speak about Mikel Arteta's pre-match interview where he spoke about the injury situation at Arsenal and other interesting stuff, to be honest. It was a bit different type of interview. It felt like it actually gave more information, I'm not gonna lie. And there are some transfer news as well, so we're definitely gonna deep dive into that. And towards the end part of the stream, of course, we're gonna tackle the talks and everything about starting 11. We're all gonna do that, of course, as well. So if you're new around here, you enjoy the content, don't forget to smash thumbs up, don't forget to subscribe, hit that bell, do all that good stuff, get live interactive in the chat. And to be honest, let's not drag this too long, let's dig straight into it. And we are kicking things off with Mikel Arteta's press conference. Mikel Arteta was back in front of the media at the training center before the Preston North End games. So, what Super Duper Mick had to say, basically, here it is. On Gabriel's knee injury, basically, after his knee injury, we are still assessing him. It doesn't look bad at all. He was much better than expected, so hopefully he'll be fine, which means he will potentially could return much sooner, and to be honest, that is kind of something very welcome for Arsenal. In my perfect scenario at the moment, given that Arsenal's injuries, players that are out, maybe not the best of forms, everyone is back fit and ready for games after the November international break. Everyone is back, everyone's fully fit, done and dusted, and we can play our strongest starting 11 and we can go from there, because Odegaard is nearly back, obviously. He's getting there. Calafiori is back after international break, mid-November. Timber shouldn't be too serious apparently as well, and same goes for Gabriel, so we actually could be very fine unless something happens during the international break in the next 2 weeks, when we have 4 away games down the row against Preston, Newcastle, Inter Milan and Chelsea, all away games. Unless something major happens, there's a possibility that after international break we could have a full-on starting 11 of our best players. Big up BX Gunner in the chat. If Jesus Sterling can't score against Preston, I'll have to admit defeat and throw my hands up. To be honest, Jesus wasn't too great against Bolton as well, so it might be at least one. Sterling at least assisted and scored against Bolton. Let's see what he does tomorrow, if he even starts. And I hope Vanjeri actually starts as well and he can bag some goals. He already scored against Bolton as well, so that is also the hope. But we're gonna get into the starting 11 and all that stuff a bit later on. At the moment, we are slowly inching towards that, obviously. On Jurrien Timber, he said that Jurrien's fine. He was very tired and he had been out for a while and could not continue the game, but there is no injury there, so it was cramp and basically tiredness at the end of the day. So Jurrien Timber also should be fine. Hopefully he also doesn't get called up to the Dutch internationals. That is also a big hope. And there is also hope that he would be ready for a Newcastle game. That would be also very fantastic, especially with Calafiori being out. On if it was a cramp, he could not continue, so we decided to make a very safe call. Yeah, that is a politician's answer without saying anything. On Riccardo Calafiori, he'll be out for a few weeks, I'd say. So as it turns, and it looks like it's gonna be like they said in the what's its face in the speculations, that he could most likely be back mid-November during or after international break. So that is actually also pretty decent news in that regard. On William Saliba being back from suspension, I will decide that when you see the team. We're gonna speak on Saliba definitely 100%, whether should he start or not. We're gonna speak on that again a bit later on. Big up Nathan in the chat, big up. On what he's got to weigh up for that decision, the same as for the rest, on how we get the strongest team we possibly can to win the game. Like, let's be real, the game we're gonna play against Preston North End, there is no chance we are gonna put our strongest possible 11 out. Given the games that follow after the Preston game, and that in the span of 2 weeks we have to play basically 4 games, right? It's never gonna be the strongest team against Preston. I expect players to be rested, substituted early, and job done early, as to the matter of fact as well. But we're gonna speak on that a bit later on, of course. Now, where we are. On Martin Odegaard's availability, he's been on the grass for a few weeks, but there's still a few boxes needs to tick. How fast he can do that? Last stage of the rehab is a question we have to answer when we have players around and he starts competing with the team, something he hasn't done yet. So Martin Odegaard is on training. He's training alone at the moment, separately from the main squad, but he is on the grass, which is actually fantastic. And again, another player which is more or less projected to be back just before international break in November or during it. So basically, again, there is the hope I have that we could have actually our strongest possible 11 straight up after international break, unless something major happens. So that is actually some fantastic news. On balancing the need to win with protecting the first team players, we will try to find the right balance there. As you said, we have very demanding matches now in different competitions. We want to win them all, and we have to start tomorrow to get the momentum again, and we'll put a strong team out. That strong team out can mean different things. Hopefully it means a decent team, obviously, but not too much decent of a team that if something goes wrong, it could damage our confidence and in general our hopes in certain aspects. On Erik ten Hag sacking from Manchester United, I have no idea how that affects Preston game for Arsenal, but hey ho, it's journalists and they ask some weird ass questions at times. It's always sad to see one of your colleagues lose his job. Yeah, cool. Let's move on. On the support Mikel's had from Edu and the board. Oh, bloody hell. Here will be some brown nosing, 100%. Nobody is unsackable. Huh. When you have that support, you have earned something and you have earned that back somehow. But here we are here to win football matches, never forget that. Okay, this is now very weird. I'm not gonna lie. Sorry. Pretty much choked on my own spit, on my own saliva. How nice is that? Anyhow, nobody is unsackable. Well, he says that while speaking on support Mikel has had from Edu and the board. Correct me if I'm wrong, but he has never said that. He has never been, I don't want to say in a negative sentence said about this, but somewhat realistic sentence, because the last time we heard something in that same sphere, in the same dimension, was when he said that after the first time we finished second in the league, 8 points we wasted, he said that he was contemplating leaving the club, like resigning, going away from the club and quitting as a manager. That has been the last time when he has said something in the same area, because most of the time when he is being asked since then about Edu, about Kroenkes and board, he has always said they are hungry manager, they are hungry owners, they want to win, I have full support from them, they're doing their best, they are giving me the funds, well, more or less in that retrospect. But overall, but he has never said nobody is unsackable. That is something, I might be reading too much into this, but very uncharacteristic for Mikel Arteta to say in press conferences. Either that is just a random sentence he has said, or there is something in the background going on. Either in his mind that he's kind of preparing himself for potential sack if the season just goes horribly wrong. Sorry. Or something else happens. Because that is very un-Mikel Arteta-esque sentence to be said in general. So I think I might be reading too much into it, yet at the same time, he never says things like that. So that is a bit of a weird one. On being here for almost 5 years, it is a long time. It is unusual, unfortunately, that is very unusual. Again, same thing. He never says stuff like this. I have continued to do my job the best possible way. Again, football matches are the most important. You have to win many of those to keep your job. Yo, am I reading too much into this? Am I being weird or something like that? But he never says stuff like this. I might be just being weird. But we are doing these press conference reactions and we discuss them pretty much for every game. And he has never spoken like this in an interview, has he? Like, correct me if I'm wrong, but per se he hasn't. I might be just... I'm very, very sorry. God damn, that was annoying. Anyhow, on importance of the Carabao Cup, It's important because it keeps everybody alive, it maintains the winning habit, which is really, really important, and it shows you care about every competition regardless of what you play. Obviously, you have to compete for every match you're in, or you're out. Basically, that's how cup ties work, to be honest. The margins are so small, and tomorrow we are going to face a really tough opponent. And yeah, I kind of agree with him in that regard, because as an Arsenal fan, if you know, you know. For example, the game against, like, few years ago we had against Norwich, sorry, not Nottingham Forest, against West Ham and stuff like that. The PTSD is real. Let's be real. At least for me, definitely. And especially that it's an away game. It's at Preston, and their championship side, obviously they're mid-table, like 16th in the table in 12 games, 3 wins, 5 draws, 4 losses, something like that. It is a bit of a different one, and championship teams tend to push themselves to the max when they play these games. We saw last year Coventry nearly kick out Manchester United in the FA Cup in the semi-finals. So I definitely believe that that game on certain level will be harder than people expect. Yet at the same time, we have all the tools to get the win. We have all the tools to get an easy win, and we have all the tools to get the job done easy very early. That is also I think is something worth mentioning in that regard, of course. However, what else he got asked? About Gala, who cares? Okay, on what he learned from Pep Guardiola managing squad rotation in this competition at Man City. Oh, bloody hell. Well, obviously I was there and we knew the quality of the squad and how strong those teams were when you were putting them in positions. We have a really good squad as well. Thin, but I wouldn't say that it's bad, but let's just say starting 11 and maybe first 2-3 players afterwards are pretty decent. Rest of them are just very young, inexperienced, or just basically needs to get sold, but it is what it is. It's true that at the moment we are missing quite a lot of players, especially in certain positions, so you have to be really strong. You can make changes, but the team has to have a balance, a chemistry, and an energy. And you can see that, to be honest. There are times when we have played and still played, and also against Liverpool, you could see that when we play these makeshift type of players, there is some disconnection between the players. They maybe fully don't know what's really the strong suit at certain times on the pitch, what should be the best thing to do. However, the one thing I would say that Mikel Merino is actually growing into that. He's actually kind of embracing, he looks like with every game, he's kind of adapting more and more to the Premier League, to the pace of Premier League, and he actually is looking better with every game. So if the more game time he gets, I think he will get better. Is he the answer? I'm still not convinced. I'm not convinced at all. Yet, I would say that he's getting better, and let's see what he brings. It's way too early to judge him, let's be real. They have to be really good to earn the right to win the game. On Zinchenko's role in the squad, and that actually is a very valid question. If we speak about the politician in Alexander Zinchenko, he hasn't played a lot this season, has he? And in the last few games, when we had needed a left back, Miles Lewis-Skelly has been preferred to come off the bench instead of Zinchenko. So that is the big thing. Does Mikel Arteta doesn't trust him anymore? Is he gonna come off the bench at any time? Is he gonna get sold in January or January? I would sell him in summer for sure. In January, I mean, it might be too quick. Let's just say that we need some still players. Or is he maybe planning to play him in the midfield? Who knows? But that Zinchenko question definitely is something that raises more questions than gives answers at the moment. I still think Marina gets into Premier League 11 at the end of the season. It all depends how we perform, where we finish in the league, and how we look as a whole group. Because there are only 3 spots in the midfield, let's be real, 4-3-3. Obviously, Rodri is out, so that is kind of already done and dusted, so there's a spot open. KDB is still very injury prone at the moment and everything, so there might be a spot open for him unless he comes back and sets the world on fire. But overall, I would say that at the moment, all 3 places are up for grabs. The thing about this is, though, there are many teams that are stepping up. If Chelsea can maintain, for example, the level they're playing at and even improve on that, at the moment how they're looking, I can see Moises Caicedo getting into the midfield for sure, for example. From Arsenal, I would put more money on Odegaard or Partey if he stays injury-free the whole season and he actually performs every single game, than at the moment in Merino. But it all depends how quickly Merino fully adapts to the team, to the league, and how he fits into the squad. Whether Arteta sees him as a starter, and for example Rice at 6, or whether he sees him more for a rotational player, at least in the first season when he just signed for Arsenal. It all depends. There are very many variables that had to be taken into account to kind of maybe try and decide already that he could get into Premier League's 11 at the end of the season. Too many variables, at least at the moment. At least for now. Especially with the fact that he definitely hasn't adjusted to the league at all. On Kieran Tierney is getting closer to the return. I think he's quite close. He's looking really good. I think he's over the period where he was still struggling, so he looks really sharp out there. He hasn't trained with the team yet, but hopefully he can do that in the next week or two. So does that mean Arteta has him in the plans, or we will have these politician answers until January, until he inevitably gets loaned out or sold? That is the big question. Because if we're speaking from defensive perspective, as an out-and-out left back, Kieran Tierney is the best left back in the team. However, the way we want to play, the way we want to advance the ball, the way we want to play the possession football, Kieran Tierney on certain level doesn't fit the bill whatsoever. Yet at the same time, I strongly believe that Kieran Tierney definitely could be a substitution, and in certain games when we need to hold out to the score. For example, we are 2-1 up, it's the last 20 minutes or something like that, Timber, Calafiori, someone has been ran into the ground, for example, right? Definitely believe that he could get minutes, definitely in some cup games, in Champions League, maybe not for now, at least definitely, but maybe at some point he could get a game here or so, maybe at Zagreb if he's fit by then. So it will be very interesting to see how Tierney fits into Arsenal's system for this season, because there's no shadow of a doubt that Kieran Tierney is going to get sold. In January, in summer, who knows, but he's not going to be an Arsenal player next season. There's 100% guarantee pretty much on that. The question is, will he get utilized this season? Because if we want to at least get some proper money for him, he needs to play. He needs the game time. Because so far he hasn't played at all. He got injured in Euros for Scotland, and since then, since June, he hasn't kicked the ball since. So that is a big worry and a big question at the moment, at least. Side note, thoughts on Ballon d'Or. I still feel Carvajal should have won. Yeah, for me, it was between Rodri and Carvajal. For me personally, Vini shouldn't have won it. For me, it's Rodri or Carvajal. Both of these guys had exceptional seasons. They won pretty much everything you can win almost, right? For me, the biggest thing is only Rodri won, I would say, because of the stature and what he brings. Defenders very rarely win it. The last time when defender won it, if I'm not mistaken, is Fabio Cannavaro, isn't it? And goalkeeper pretty much, well, you have to look even further back, if I'm not mistaken. So definitely defenders and goalkeepers are the odd man out. Most of the time it's an attacker. There's an occasion when midfielder gets it. For example, like Modric, now this year Rodri and stuff like that. Obviously there was a year in 2010 when Wesley Sneijder, in my opinion, should have won it, but he got robbed, in my opinion. Same goes for Thierry Henry when Arsenal were on top. Then he should have won it as well, and he was robbed in 2013, I think it was, when Ribéry got robbed as well. There are certain instances when players get robbed because, let's be real, it's not a clean contest. If FIFA, UEFA want to make this Ballon d'Or vote a clean contest and actually talk about the fact that this is actually the best players, you cannot give it just for Rodri, because he's not the best player overall. You could say he's the best midfielder, yes, you can say that, but there's no chance that he's the best player overall in the world. So if they want to make it somewhat credible, they should make Ballon d'Or in four nominations: best goalkeeper, best defender, best midfielder, and the best attacker. You need to make them both. You need to make them all four countable. Obviously, I would say that the defender-wise, more chance than not that wingback could win it, especially if that wingback is playing for a team that wins quite a bit of titles, but still, they should make like it's per position: goalkeeper, defender, midfielder, and attacker. Because like pretty much labeling Rodri the best player in the world, quote unquote, right? In this sense, at least for the year, right? It's a bit misleading, let's just say that, in my opinion. Rodri won 1 trophy plus Euros. Carvajal won treble, UCL final goal and Euros. Yeah, but that's the thing. it's a popularity contest and everything, and let's be real, Rodri brings more stature to the UEFA and all that crap and Ballon d'Or than Carvajal. Carvajal is also a defender. That is also a big thing. As I said, defenders usually don't win it. That is also a big thing. So it is what it is. I think Rodri, I generally believe that Rodri mostly won this Ballon d'Or, not just based on last year's performance, but on last 2 years' performance. Because Rodri arguably has been the best player in the world, as they would say, best midfielder in the world for sure, for the last 2 years. If you combine the last 2 years, he definitely is the best in that regard. And I think for me personally, since I've watched football and everything, one of the most mistreated positions, a position that gets the least recognition, is that number 6 role. Like generally where Rodri plays. Because if you look over time, if you look at the teams that has won quite a bit of things, right? You look at teams, we don't almost ever mention Busquets when we speak about Barcelona. We have Xavi, Iniesta, Messi and stuff like that. Almost no one ever mentions Busquets, for example. When we speak about number 6s, nobody almost ever mentions Kante. They usually mention the attackers, the midfielders that surround them. And now it's the same for Rodri. Because at Man City, when people speak about Man City, why they did it, it's not because of Rodri that's the first player that comes to mind. Usually it's Haaland, De Bruyne, it's Foden. Very rarely someone will mention Rodri as the first option. But we all know that without Rodri, they are a completely different team. Let's be real. So for me personally, in a selfish way, to be honest, that number 6 role finally getting a proper recognition is actually a very good thing, to be honest. And in that regard as well, and I think over the past 2 years, Rodri has been the best performer, the most consistent performer in that regard. So if we look like that, he definitely deserves it. Because there have been too many robberies. Lewandowski also got robbed of Ballon d'Or the year that they didn't give it out. Lewandowski should have won it as well. Kane ranked 10th. Yeah, he just scored lots of goals, won all, and he basically got in 10th. And that's what it is. It's a popularity contest based on GA. But if it was based on GA, some other players would be there, yet they are not. Anyhow, back to Arsenal. On what he's seen from Tommy Setford. There's a big chance Setford could play tomorrow. We're gonna speak on it in a bit. Obviously, we brought him because we know that he's got qualities that we are looking for our goalkeeper area. But unfortunately, he's been injured, so he hasn't really played. Let's see if we will play him tomorrow, which is very interesting because obviously Neto cannot play, and we shouldn't be putting out David Raya to beat Preston. All due respect to Preston, David Raya should not be playing. So if Neto cannot play, that basically leaves us with Nygaard, Setford, or the 16-year-old Porter. One of the three. Pick your poison. That's basically you have pick one of all the under 18s. Pick one. No DD and stuff like that, but pick one. On how the instability in the back four impacts the team. I planned for a lot of things for that Liverpool game. 4 different scenarios actually. I didn't plan for the one with Gabi because normally that doesn't happen, and that makes sense. Gabi is actually very durable, pretty much never gets injured. I didn't plan for that one and it happened. We had to adapt to it very early in the match as well, and it wasn't ideal. It wasn't ideal at all. Kivior came on for him, and to be honest, the second goal we conceded, if Gabriel was there instead of Kivior, we don't concede that goal. I'm still standing by it. It's what's happening at the moment that's making us think and learn a lot. We'll be stronger. There's no other way to look at it. But Setford also shouldn't play if they will. To be honest, they won't blame him. There is no reason to blame an 18-year-old goalkeeper. Nobody can blame Setford for losing to Preston. Only person you can blame is Mikel Arteta based on what he brings, what team he picks. But for me personally, we're going to speak about starting 11 in about 10-15 minutes, right? There should be players in front of him defensively that should give him no trouble. On top of that, Arsenal will control quite a bit of possession based on how we tend to play, and Preston will try to hit us on counters unless they have a magic surge of energy at some point since they play at home, in my opinion. So Setford shouldn't have too much job based on how Arsenal play, based on how we're gonna dominate the possession most likely, and we shouldn't be sitting back as well. So that shouldn't be the case. Even Porter didn't have too much job at Emirates, but obviously it's at Emirates. So we will see what's gonna happen. We're definitely gonna speak on it in a bit. On what he's seen from Miles Skelly in the big games. First of all, a huge personality. He doesn't care, he plays with full belief, with a lot of commitment. He's got qualities that we want into the position to play outside, to play inside. Defensively, he's a really strong player where we want him. When a player is like this, I don't care if he's from the academy or whatever, we need to give him the opportunities and he's earned the right to play those games. Which basically translated from PR and political points means Zinchenko is not seeing light of the day pretty much unless someone else gets injured. Unless something happens to Skelly, or they have under 21 game at the same time and Skelly has to play there. Because Skelly already 3 times has come on instead of Zinchenko since he's been available. And the fact that he brought him on against Liverpool says a lot, doesn't it? And the way he's speaking about Skelly here more or less indicates that Zinchenko is kind of done and dusted at Arsenal, isn't he? So I guess it is what it is. Unlucky. Unlucky, Zinny. Unlucky. Skelly will play more. There's a big possibility of that. Also mostly because that position for us at left back, I don't want to say it is easier to get into, but there's a bigger chance to get into that left back spot for Skelly than for Ranieri get into Odegaard's spot. Because the way we play, the way we tend to shift things, then the way we want to play, Odegaard gets subbed off quite a bit as a captain. But once he comes back, obviously you could see it here or there unless Ranieri proves himself. There is a big possibility Skelly will come on at left back more than Ranieri will play this season. However, since we don't have a proper backup for Martin Odegaard, and if Ranieri in this time while he is out actually proves himself properly, I can see Odegaard being subbed off at 75th, 80th minute, and for the last 10-15 minutes, Ranieri coming on. I wouldn't be against that as well. Obviously, depends on the opposition, depends on the scoreline and what we need to get out of the game. But more than not, I generally, whenever Skelly has played, he doesn't seem out of place. He seems like he fits in straight away. He always comes with energy, with skills, with dribbling, with shooting, and with everything. He's like an energy jolt into the team, which basically makes us more exciting to look. Because he has something that most of the Arsenal players at this current team don't have, and it's ball carrying skills. He can carry the ball from midfield into attack. And none of our midfielders tend to do that at all. To be honest, the last one, in my opinion, who did that on consistent basis for us was Emil Smith-Rowe in that season when he single-handedly with Bukayo Saka, they too saved Mikel Arteta's job. That was the last time I saw something like that. And that is actually a very big compliment I'm giving for a 17-year-old, let's be real. But there's definitely a very great player in there. The thing is, unless we can find him a proper position, until Odegaard leaves or something major happens, he's not going to see the pitch whatsoever. That is the big issue at the moment here. We are playing Trossard, Havertz is makeshifting into that position when Yeri is coming on mostly as a sub, unless it's a Carabao Cup game. That is for me the biggest issue here. When Yeri is in that position, which is pretty much irreplaceable, if that makes sense. It's the same as we want to sign a backup for Bukayo Saka, but that player needs to be stone cold backup. Who is not gonna complain that he doesn't get enough game time because Saka almost never gets subbed off. Yes, you could argue it's because we don't have a replacement, yet at the same time when we even had some replacements like Jesus, we have Sterling, he didn't sub them off. He didn't sub Saka off, he was still playing, so that is also a big thing which needs to be taken into the account. Especially if there are rumors that we are maybe going for Arda Güler on loan or someone else on loan, if we sign someone else. Ranieri is going to fall further and further back in pecking order as well. He might go out on loan then only. Rice can carry, but exactly that is the thing. Rice just doesn't do it at Arsenal. He used to do it a bit, But Arteta just legitimately has said, don't do that too much. Just don't do it. And since he doesn't do it, we don't have that one player who can just take the ball from one end to carry to the other end to start the attack. And Wanyeri is the one that does it on more consistent basis. Even Wanyeri has played 100 times less than Declan Rice. Yet he has done more the ball carrying, in my opinion, than Declan Rice has. That is also a thing, in my opinion, at least. On if Jose Mourinho has been a reference point for Mikel. Jose, oh, for sure. I've known him since I was 15. Ooh, no did he? He coached me in Barcelona. He's won 28 titles? He's someone to really admire. He's the chosen one. The way he's done it, the way he's changed the culture in clubs, the way he's done it's different countries. Jose is just one of a kind, let's be real. Just one of a kind, a unique person, a unique type of manager. And if he takes the comparisons as a compliment, I take it as an opinion. I don't like myself comparing to anybody because I'm myself. Makes sense. I don't do things because other people have done things. I do things that I believe are the best things for the players and the team to get a success, and we play it the way we want to play. That's it. That is the thing. But you cannot deny that there are not influences, quite strong ones, from certain managers. Definitely. There is, you can see, well, let me see what you can see there. There's Pep Guardiola, there's Jose Mourinho, there's David Moyes a bit. There's definitely Arsene Wenger as well. So there are quite a bit of those. Yeah, that's here or there. Also impressive that Rice has he has 250 appearances. It's actually quite not at his age. It's actually quite impressive. I'm not gonna lie. If he doesn't get too injured, he could hit 1,000 games potentially. Potentially, if he can survive that long, basically with the modern football, the way everything goes, and to be honest, with medicine getting better and healings getting quicker and more safer in that sense, he could actually hit 1,000 games. Well, potentially. I think Saka as well could be in that regard, although Saka is a winger, that's a different position. Because Declan Rice has played also center back, and if push comes to shove and he doesn't have the legs to play in the midfield, he can maybe try and requalify as a center back. So that also plays in his guard, and then an extra trump card, if that makes sense. On a message to the traveling fans ahead of our 4 away games, keep doing what you're doing. Yes, spend your money. Just kidding. You've been absolutely phenomenal. We really thank you for the time, the effort, and everything you invest in. We're really grateful, and hopefully we're going to perform really well and give you a lot of joy. And that concludes Conman Music Mikel Arteta's interview in a pre-match game for Preston. But now we're gonna kick on and we're gonna talk about some transfer rumors and some discussions. And this came out today from Football Insider. Allegedly, Arsenal are weighing up a bid to sign Brentford forward Brian Mbuemo. For me, personally, it's a music to my ears, because Mbuemo is one of the players I would like to have at Arsenal as a backup for Saka, plus he can play in that number 9 role. He can play potentially also on the other wing if you get it done. So definitely there is a good player there. He's very versatile, he's quick with some decent strength, and he has a good finishing ability. So for me personally, that is a very decent, good signing. Obviously, depends on the cost and how much Brentford would want for him. But for me, that is actually quite fantastic in that regard. So that could actually work. Better do it in January, don't wait till summer. And that is the thing. It doesn't specify here whether it's about January or summer. And the fact that it's already saying Arsenal are weighing up a bid, it could indicate that we might do something in January. That is my hope, that we in January go and sign 2-3 players. I know it sounds wild that in January Arsenal could sign 2-3 players, but there's definitely a room to do it. And the amount of money we have spent in summer, last summer, was laughable. Which means, potentially, I would argue that Arteta, and together with Edu and everyone, maybe has shifted the narrative, because we tended to do a lot of business in summer, and we tended to basically sit back more often than not in January and get some random deals that 95% of the time doesn't work, right? So this time in summer, we signed few players, we sold quite a few players, and we finished with an overall net profit, which kind of leaves us in a position that would lead me to believe that in January we can actually go in for someone proper. 2-3 players, genuinely. I strongly have that belief. Now obviously in 2 months I could be sitting here and being pissed off that Arsenal and Edu have done F all again as they usually do in January. But so far, definitely, it has some indications that we actually can do these things, actually. Mbuemo, Hato, I don't know who else. What? Like, another defender. Holy crap, we already complained that we signed too many defenders and no midfielders and attackers, and you want to sign another defender? Holy crap. I'm just kidding, by the way, but you get what I mean in that regard. But Mbuemo at Arsenal, would you take him? Just curious. Would you take Mbuemo at Arsenal? How much is he valued at? According to Transfermarkt, his value is 40 million euros, which would lead me to believe that they would ask about 45 to 50 million. Brentford. His contract runs out next summer. In summer of 2026. So at the next summer transfer window, he will have 1 year left on his contract, which actually could kind of play in our hands. That Brentford would want to get this January as much money as possible, because next summer with 1 year left, they will get quite substantially lesser amount of money than they would get in January, because nobody could come in. Mbuemo might not sign and say, okay, cool, I'm done here. There are big clubs that want me. I'm gonna sign for them for free, like Tony did basically. See out the contract and then peace out, nerds. Well, almost, but you get what I mean, basically. Something from that book. So it will be very interesting. But for me, that if his contract is kind of year and a half in January, I would definitely entertain that idea. So my question stands: would you take Mbuemo in January? That is the big question. Another news: according to ESPN Brazil, Arsenal have turned down an approach from Palmeiras to sign Brazil forward Gabriel Jesus. Now, this is a bit of a 50-50 one, because for me, you can look at it from two sides. One side, he's awful, get him out of the club no matter what, get the money, reinvest in January. Correct? Second, on the other side is, he's our backup striker and backup right winger. He can play both positions, and if we cannot get a proper replacement for both, like in, for example, Mbuemo, right, or Kudus or something like that, we don't have to sell him, because we will be even shorter in the attacking line that we are already. Which basically, it's the both sides. It's a double-edged sword. You either do one thing and basically you have to replace him instantly, or you just keep him and try to do something in summer. It's a 50-50 one. That for me is the big issue at the moment with him. Yes, Mbuemo is ready. I can see how he plays. Exactly. 40 million euros, that's about 35 million pounds. If that's his net value, I would pay 40 for him. I'm not gonna lie. If they want 40, I would pay. What does that even mean? What is that even? Like, seriously, what does that even mean? I don't have a Rosetta Stone to translate all these hieroglyphs I'm seeing here. Anyways, moving on. Oh, some positive. Well, I'm not sure if it's positive news, but obviously we all know that Ten Hag today got sacked. Amorim is in place of Ten Hag, and this is pretty much a guarantee. Let's be real. Let's get it out of the way straight away. So, here are some news. Breaking. An agreement is in place allowing Victor Gyökeres to leave Sporting next summer for 60 to 70 million euros. That's about 55 to 62 million pounds, if I'm not mistaken. Something like that. 60 million pounds for Gyökeres, when last summer it was 100 nearly. Hello? 30 million drop off. That is actually kinda nuts. But it doesn't get better from there. As good as this part sounds, this part is not sounding too good. Because a summer transfer seems highly likely with Manchester City, Arsenal, Liverpool, and Chelsea all showing interest. All of them are showing interest. Now, we talked about this, I think, 2 days ago, that Manchester City are looking and scouting Victor Gyökeres as a replacement for Haaland if Haaland decides to leave at the end of his contract in 2026. I think Haaland's contract runs out in 2026, doesn't it? I think it was 2026. Wait, let me check. No, 2027. 200 million transfer value. Holy crap. In 2027. So in 3 years, by the end of it, it's going to be 2 years. So they are kind of trying to weigh up a proper replacement. If Gyökeres is willing to sit behind him for a bit, it actually could work, potentially. Who knows? But Arsenal are the other ones, and we desperately need a striker, in my opinion, up top. Liverpool actually also need a proper striker up top. The big question is, to be honest, he would fit to Liverpool to a T. As a striker instead of Nunez, if you think about it, Gyökeres fits like hand to glove pretty much. Like glove to hand pretty much. As wild as it sounds. And Chelsea, well, they have already like 50 million strikers. So why not add another one? And to be honest, Gyökeres is better than all of the strikers Chelsea have in their team combined. And they have about billion of those, as I already said. So there is 4 high-end Premier League sides fighting for the guy. Potentially, obviously. It's a summer signing that could potentially happen at some point. How Jesus makes me feel. Gyökeres 100% jumping ship. Edu better be on a plane. Exactly. That is the thing. That is the thing. And for me, the one worry is that maybe Amorim may try to get him to United at some point somehow with having connections and all that stuff. It's a very interesting that these news came out about an hour or hour and a half after it was pretty much confirmed that Amorim has agreed to join United. Verbally agreed to join United, and it's all between the clubs, and the United representatives are flying to Lisbon and everything to talk over all the details, right? And money and everything, right? So that is also, I don't think that's a coincidence as well. I again might be reading too much into it, but that might not be just a coincidence as well. But he could be jumping the ship. And they have quite a bit of those good players, so definitely could look at them. In other news, Amorim is reunited with Bruno Fernandes. If Gyökeres wants to be robot boy backup, good riddance, and he is not replacing Jota. The thing is though, with Jota's injury record, could easily work. Jota can play also from the left, so that also can work, especially since they need rotation in that regard. As good as Liverpool's attack is, it's not consistent enough. And adding Gyökeres as a target man up top definitely could do the trick for them. That's why I think it definitely could fit them like hand to glove, basically type of situation. And to be honest, it would fit for Arsenal as well. I also saw a link to Hjulmand. Yeah, Hjulmand is an interesting one, by the way. I think it was no. How did you spell Hjulmand? Never mind, I misspelled it. This one, 25-year-old Danish, should go to Brentford. Hello. 40 million as well. He's at number 6/number 8. He's number 6 or number 8. Again, you look at this. Signed for 19 million, now worth 40 million. Again, the Portuguese clubs are phenomenal at this, by the way. 7 games, 1 goal. I haven't watched him play. I have watched Denmark play, and he has been quite decent, I'm not gonna lie. Although Denmark as a whole sucks. Sorry, not sorry. From the olden days when they had proper players, it definitely is not the same, right? But he's actually pretty decent, very, very decent. I wouldn't be against having him. It's just a question in what role. 68 million, no thanks. Yo, if this is true, 68 million pounds, I'm not having him. You can shove it where the sun doesn't shine, because 68 million pounds is the same price you can get Gyökeres for. At the moment, Gyökeres for me personally is a more desperate need. Well, basically, I'm talking that striker is more necessary than actually a midfielder for Arsenal. Even though we are losing two of them in summer, I still believe that a striker is still also very, very necessary. But it is what it is, I guess, at the end of the day. And I think it didn't stop there, if I'm not mistaken. Well, basically, it's been confirmed that for Saturday's game, that is against Newcastle, just a small side note, we're gonna have John Brooks as ref, with Jared Gillett being a referee on VAR. Gillett and John Brooks incidents. Vicario's hand where should be a red card, nope. And Tosin's yellow where it's similar foul like Saliba, also didn't happen. And if I'm not mistaken, Gillett as well has done some travesty to Arsenal in that regard. But we cannot complain about refs. That is just an excuse for weak-minded fans. Just complaining about refs. Yes, they get things wrong. We need to accept that referees in this league are useless. They're gonna get things wrong almost every single game week, more than not. And you have to try and win despite the calls they're making. If you're good enough, you will get the job done over the line. And if you want to play a risky football, just play it in a way that you don't give them a chance to kind of turn the book. What was the saying? Turn on you. Not turn on you, but flip the page on you, basically, when they start to a bit manipulate with the rules. Anyhow, this is, by the way, a very interesting one. Nuno Tavares, remember him? Out on loan at Lazio with option to buy for something million. I have no idea how many, but for something million. At the moment, him and Bukayo Saka both are in the top assisters in top 5 leagues. Both of them have 7 assists, if I'm not mistaken. They both are top assisters in both of the leagues, and 7 assists at the moment gives you a top spot in Europe's top 5 leagues assist-wise. Him and Bukayo Saka are both in the number 1 spot. And look, I wouldn't sell Tavares not even for 70 million. That's what Claudio Lozillo said to Imesagero. That is actually kind of wild. He actually, how much is he? 15 million, allegedly, right? Arsenal signed him for, where is he? For 8 million. So it depends how much money we will get for him, obviously. But he is actually on fire for Lazio. The way he plays and does things, he's actually, for them at least. He's very suited, by the looks of things, for Italian league and the way Lazio want to play. Good for him. Good for him. Hopefully we get a proper money for him though, not just 5 or 10 million. Oh, I thought it was April Fool's, but there is some truth behind this. As weird as it sounds, allegedly, according to this, Arsenal, Chelsea, and PSG have all previously offered around 150 million for Nico Williams. Now, I'm not saying that the person who wrote this article and everything is stupid, but what were you on when you decided that Arsenal have randomly 150 million to offer for Nico Williams? I'm sorry, what were you on? We barely got the proper money to sign Declan Rice, and we haggled over that for 3 weeks almost. It took us a month to sign a Calafiori, a month to sign Merino, and those were low budget deals for today's market. Where do you think Arsenal got the 150 million from? Like, I'm sorry, but this is just April Fools all over the place. 150 million. Arsenal, dumb? Yes, no to Huimland. Yeah, Ederson. I would love having Ederson. Atalanta's Ederson actually, I think, could do well at Arsenal. Game's gone, but pretty much. If you start reading stuff like this, it's genuinely gone. I like this solely because I think it was before I got ill with the flu and everything. I think it was about a week and a half ago. Someone in the chat said that they would take Kolomuani at Arsenal. I don't know who said that. I don't remember now. I don't know. It was BX Gunner. Was it Pepper? I don't think it was Pepper. Definitely not. I think it was BX Gunner. I think. I'm sorry, but I think. But you were really, whoever said that, I forgot. I'm very sorry. But maybe it was Coach. Maybe. 50 million for French Eddie Nketiah. Are you dumb? I'm just talking about this because he's actually available. And the person who mentioned that in this stream about week and a half, 2 weeks ago, you are putting this out in the universe. And this could happen potentially if these things are starting to come out. So you better take it back. I don't want to see this French Nketiah nowhere near Arsenal. Nowhere near. Not even in a sight, breathing distance. Not even 100 kilometers away. Exactly. It's a massive yikes. Jesus does not look good so bad. Exactly. Jesus does not look so bad anymore. It's fascinating how fast the night changes, doesn't it? How quickly the script gets flipped on you. It's amazing. You have Jesus, you want him gone, you get offered Kolomuani, bang, Jesus is the best striker in the world, nobody cares. But yeah, Jesus, how do I call him? Gabriel Odegaard. Odegaard, yeah, he also should be gone, let's be real. But if Kolomuani joins Arsenal, the video, the stream, there we're gonna talk about that. Holy moly. I'd rather don't even want to think about this, let's be real. We don't even want to think about it. Now, it's time. It is time to actually... wait, it's a quiz? No, it's a quiz. It is time to build a starting 11 for Arsenal. Agree, blah, blah, blah. Create formation. Can you see this? Is it... Oh, it's definitely not good. Wait, let me kind of... No, it doesn't work. This is the glitched one. Never mind, this is the glitched site. Let's do this one. Why not? Let's do this one. Let's put Arsenal in. It's time to try... Let's talk about the starting 11 Arsenal should be, in my opinion, should be putting out against... What's its face? Against Preston North End. Obviously, he's cup-tied. So what we're gonna do is this. We're gonna do this. We're gonna do this. So, Raya or Setford or Nygaard or Porter. Which one of these four goalkeepers will be in the goal tomorrow? That is the big question at the moment everyone's asking. For me, as much as it sounds weird, I would put Setford in goal. I would put Setford in goal. And you will see why in a second. You will see why in a second. Don't judge me. I get it. I get it. Nathan wants Raya in goal. I totally get that. The sole reason I'm gonna put him there, it's because of my back line. Because this will sound very, very weird, but now first things first. Instead of Calafiori, we will have Skelly. Okay? Now, left-sided center back, sadly, is gonna be Kivior. Right-sided center back, I'm gonna put in Saliba. Now, people might say, why the hell you're doing this? Why the hell? What's the point and everything? But he had a suspension. He hasn't played for some time. Get the job done. Give him about 60 odd minutes to play so he gets back into the rhythm before Newcastle game, then sub him off. That's why. And on the right side, I'm gonna put, and this could be very bad, I would actually go for Nichols. That would be my back line. Genuinely, that would be my back line. I'm not sure whether you agree with this or not, but that would be my back line for tomorrow. I know it sounds very makeshift again, but again, come on guys, we are playing against goddamn Preston. We are not playing against Man City, we are not playing against any of those teams, right? So for me, I think that could actually be a very solid back line. Let me know what you think in the chat, by the way. That would be my back line. Setford, Skelly, Kivior, Saliba, and Nichols. Skelly has proved that he can play with the big boys. No Didi. And everything, but he can do things. Kivior, obviously, as much as he had a bit of a head loss against the over-the-top ball, again, he is good enough to play against Preston. Let's get it straight. And now Saliba plays on the... just to give him minutes. And I would put Nichols at right back. Now, midfield would look for me like this. Jorginho, Merino, and... Wait. Where did he go? Hey, hello? Where did he go? Where's my Vanieri? My Vanieri disappeared. Holy crap. Oh, here it is. I'm blind. Never mind. I'm putting in Vanieri as the number 10. Yes, you may not like it, but it is what it is. That would be my midfield. Jorginho, Merino, and Vanieri. Now, we get to the attack. And this could go very bad or very good, depending on how things stand. There's no chance in hell I'm playing Bukayo Saka. That's first thing. I would put Jesus on the right. I would put... Wait. I'm just thinking the starting 11. Okay, Sterling is also gonna play. Let's put it straight down. Sterling, Jesus, Havertz. No, Havertz is not gonna play. Havertz is not gonna play for me. I'm sorry. Trossard is also... The thing for me is that I wouldn't be against risking it for the biscuit and playing a youngster from the youth academy like Oyedeji or someone like that up front. That is the big thing for me. However, given the fact that we need goals, we need to get the job done very decently, I will put Jesus through the middle, Sterling to the right, and I know he's awful at the left side, but I would play... No Trossard. I cannot deal with him at the left wing. Put Martinelli on the left wing. Martinelli, Jesus, Sterling. That would be my starting 11 for the game against Preston. Yeah, perfect midfield. Yeah, and Martinelli, Jesus, Sterling. Yeah. We agree on this. I like that. This would be my starting 11 for the Preston game. Now, the thing is, you see, I assume you put this in the chat when I put Nichols at right back, right? For me, the biggest part in this is that Nichols will need someone experienced and level-minded next to him, just in case to guide him through the match. And that's why I have Saliba there. And that for me is the reason why I'm playing Nichols at right back. Because Timber is not going to play. I don't want to play Ben White. Because obviously we need him ready for the next game. Because we don't know what's going to happen. We need White fit and ready. Because more chances than not that Timber is going to play left back again against Newcastle. Let's be real. So we need White as fresh as a daisy. As much as fresh as a daisy as possible. Yes, we can try and experiment with Partey there again. But you know. Play White right back first half. It could work. It could work similarly like with Saliba. Play first half, first 60 minutes with White at right back. And then sub on Nichols, for example. And then instead of Saliba, hopefully by 60th minute it should be like 3-4 nothing Arsenal, right? So we can actually make these subs. Because if it's still 0-0, if it's still 1-0 even for Arsenal, it will take one corner, one random bounce, and it could be 1-1, and there will be absolutely massive head loss in Arsenal's fan base. Every single other fan in the world will laugh at us, and by the end of the game, including myself, we will all be screaming sack Arteta right on the spot. I already am telling you that now. Just saying. Just putting it out there in the change. Well, to be honest, he was injured. It's not like he had a long time off. He was injured. But yeah, I can see that. For me, we can do that definitely. And then maybe in the second half we can sub on maybe Nichols for him. Then we can sub on the not the swear. What's his name? Sweeter, not Sweeter. I forget his name. Sweeney, Sweeter, Sweener, Swag. What's his name? The center back. SW. His name begins. Sweeter, Sweater, Sweeney. I always forget his goddamn name. You know him? Arsenal's under 21s. Where is he? I don't see him. Josh Nichols. I forgot his name. To be honest, given how Arsenal play, I wouldn't be against seeing, for example, where is he? Where's Maldini? We could play Maldini at center back as well as a sub. I wouldn't be against that. Definitely, don't get me wrong. I'm not against that. I wouldn't be against, for example, seeing Odegaard as a sub potentially. Salah Eddin, definitely I would like to see. Given the depends on circumstances, for example. I wouldn't be against that as well. Aiden Heaven as well definitely could play for us as a sub. Definitely, in these games, if we get the job done very early and we score some goals, let's just say 3-4-0 around 60th minute, I generally believe we could maybe sub on Saladin, Aiden Heaven potentially, Josh Nichols, definitely potentially try Nathan Oyedeji. We can definitely have those players tried subbed on. I'm talking about quite a bit of youngsters, but definitely there is room for them to get subbed on and get some game time and see what is what. There's definitely something like that, in my opinion. Odegaard needs minutes from somewhere before Inter. I don't think he will be ready for Inter at the moment, because Odegaard is not in training. He's training on the grass, but he hasn't had one single training with the main squad yet. He hasn't been in a physical contact trainings yet. Obviously, we play in a week. In 1 week, we play against Inter. I think it's a bit of a stretch at the moment. At the moment, I generally believe it is a bit of a stretch for him to be back and be ready for Inter game. More chances than not that Odegaard will come back and he'll be ready for Sporting game. Definitely. After international break. Maybe for Chelsea, you could argue. But I don't think that, since Arteta today is saying that he's not ready, he's not training with the first team, you think that in 7 days he'll be training fully with the first team and he'll be ready to start? It is a bit of a stretch at the moment. Definitely is a bit of a stretch. We'll see how it goes, how it develops, but at the moment might not be the case per se. Now, going back to Preston game, this game will go two ways, in my opinion. Either Arsenal will just win 4-5-0, 4-5-1 even, something like that, or it will be a very rough game. One of the two. There will be no in between. I think Arsenal will win this by demolishing them, or it will be like 1-0 or 2-0 scrappy win. One of the two. Either it will be super easy or super heavy for us. One of the other, I think. Definitely, obviously, the interesting fact about this game that the only two, well, not only two, but two teams have gone invincible in English football in Premier League are facing each other. Preston did it first, Arsenal also have done it. The bell of the invincibles in a way. Obviously not the same teams, no chance in hell that could happen, but that is the interesting fact for this game as well. Obviously we should be winning. Personally, I'm going for a 3-0 win. Wait. 3-1 win. I'm going for a 3-1 Arsenal win. Because I hope that, for example, it's 3-0, we sub on the youth, and towards the end part of the game maybe they scrap a goal just because of that. We don't have enough experience on the pitch. I can see that happening. But I generally believe that by 60th, 65th minute, we should be in a position, since we're starting quite a strong team, especially this team, I think it's hella strong against Preston, right? That we should be 3-4 nothing up around the 60th, 65th minute, when in my opinion would be the ideal time to take off Saliba, White, Merino, Martinelli, players like that who we are more chance than not could start or will play a very big role in the game against Newcastle. That for me is the case. But this is the team I will be going with. Yeah, we need a controller against that Inter team. Question is, who? Maybe Jorginho. Well, just kidding. Just kidding. Don't cancel me. Anyhow, I think on that note, I'm gonna end the stream here. Thank you guys so much for watching. Let me know down in the comments below your predictions for the game, predicted starting 11 and all that stuff. If you're new around here, don't forget to subscribe, don't forget to smash the thumbs up. Big up Nathan in the chat, big up everyone who joined, who watched, who commented. Big up you all, big up BX Gunner as well. You have been freaking fantastic. Take care, stay safe. There's definitely football today. Today is AC Milan versus Napoli. Enjoy that game, that should be a fantastic watch. Enjoy football. Tomorrow, of course, Arsenal play against Preston. There might be no video tomorrow or stream tomorrow, just saying that now. There will be definitely on Thursday, because the game ends midnight my time and I cannot go live at midnight at the moment. It's not possible for me, so definitely I'll see you on Thursday for sure. You about to watch Milan Napoli? Definitely, yeah, I'm gonna watch it for sure. Have a good one, take care, enjoy football, like, comment, subscribe, see you all on, most likely, Thursday.